Up for round 11 of the championship sees Jason Plato on pole position, but now with full ballast, 45 kilos. Second is Matt Neal, then Dan Eves and Ivan Muller. Tom Chilton is next up with Gavin Smith on the third row of the grid, and on row number 4 it's Luke Hines and Rob Collard. Row 5 sees James Pickford and Colin Turkington. Row 6 James Kay, hopefully, and Mark Proctor, and at the back it's Richard Williams and Ian Curley. All set to go, the red lights are on, away we go then, we're racing again at Oulton Park, and it's a good start from Plato. Beautiful judgment on the amount of wheel spin and clutch spin that he allowed it there, and Plato is ahead. Matt Neal's in second place. Ivan Muller has started well. He doesn't take too many risks there though. Muller up into third, he's got past Dan Eves, who was the main loser, and as we come down the hill towards Cascades, Plato already beginning to make a break. We're on board with Muller in third, and that's Matt Neal right ahead of us. Matt Neal will be determined to try and stay with the Seat, but he's got a tough task because Muller's putting him under pressure.
Yeah, Muller's the fast starter. Dan Eves lost out, didn't get away from the line very well. Plato, as I expected, made a good start alongside Neal, but it's Muller trying very hard in these early laps, and well, he's having to defend now. Just that little backing off, and there's Collard and Chilton getting aggressive with each other as we see it on board with Colin Turkington.
Yeah, Chilton losing out to Collard. Collard's made a very good start. He started back in 8th place on the grid, and he's gained a few places there. Tom Chilton just managing to squeeze in ahead of Colin Turkington as they came into the Knickerbrook chicane. Right behind them is James Pickford in the Seat. Where is Luke Hines? I think Luke's lost a bit of ground as well on this first lap. Not quite sure where he's gone to, but out in front, there's no doubt about the Seat that is leading. It is Jason Plato, and he's already opened up just a little bit of a margin over Matt Neal in second place, and still haven't seen Luke Hines come through there, Tim.
He's obviously got a problem. Has he got a problem with the steering? Has he got a puncture? It's obviously a front-end issue. They're looking at it closer. Can't see a puncture.
Riding on board with Dan Eves, the 2-litre engine really revving hard as it can as it's chase of Ivan Muller, and still Muller looking as though he's attacking the curves, attacking the circuit, desperate to stay in front. Oh, there's a touch there between Ivan Muller and Dan Eves, just a little nudge, a wisp of smoke off the front of Dan Eves' car, and they both got away with it.
Well, they both ran wide, didn't they, at Old Hall, and Dan thought he was going to get an overlap on the run down to Cascades, but sensibly he backed out of it. Here you see them throw on hole. Muller gets a bobble, goes over the curb. Dan thinks he's got a bit of a chance, and Muller immediately moves over.
Plato still leads. What's his advantage? It's 1.5 seconds where it was last time across the line. Look at third place. Muller under pressure again from Eves. He didn't think Eves was close enough. He wasn't quite close enough, but he very nearly wasn't. Behind them, Smith definitely under pressure from Collard. Collard might have the overlap here. He's on the inside, and I think Collard there is going to be able to take 5th place as they go into Old Hall. He's got the inside line. That's the job done. Good move from Rob Collard.
Excellent drive by Rob. He loves this track, and he was so frustrated that the car wasn't working for him earlier in the weekend, but now he looks to have it dialed in. Now, this is the battle between Gavin Smith now, and he's defending against Tom Chilton. Tom trying to get through. Collard's has gapped them straight away, and I'll be interested to see Collard's lap time. He's definitely on a charge.
Chilton's done it though. He's done exactly what Collard did last time around. He's got the inside. It's out of Lodge Corner that Smith's struggling. He can't hold the car in. It just washes out, and it's allowed Chilton to come through now. So Tom Chilton is in 6th place. Gavin Smith, and now we're on board with Colin Turkington, Smith's teammate. I wonder if he can take advantage of some sort of problem that Smith seems to have.
Yeah, good line through there. Look at the exit speed he's got, but he's got no choice but to go to the outside unless Smith moves back over and he can dive up the inside. No, he's got nowhere to go. Look, all 3 of them on the inside line. It's like queuing up at Sainsbury's.
Pickford did try the outside. He's right behind them, but there was no space for him, and he was only going to end up on the grass if he tried it, so he decided to back out of it and follow them through. Plato just locking that inside rear brake. No great dramas, but Matt Neal is looking fast now, using the power, if he can, of that Honda engine up the hill, and Matt Neal's lights go on. He wants to try and rattle Jason if he can.
Well, he's trying to say to Jason at the moment, look, we've got a long way to go in this race. There's no way that you can stay in front of me for the whole of the rest of the race. Why don't you make it easy for me and just let me through, and then we'll both get a potential result. But these are the things that go through the driver's mind.
Yeah, but I don't think Jason's going to make it easy for him. He will fight every inch. It doesn't matter, there's a long way to go in this race. He will not give up that lead position too easily. Behind them, it's still pretty close between Ivan Muller, Dan Eves, but there is Jason looking in the mirror. Where is that orange Honda? Is it this side? Is it that side? He goes to the outside. Plato defends down the inside. Matt Neal trying to go all the way around the outside through Lodge corner. They're side by side, giving each other space. A little tap, a little rub as they exit the corner. They're still side by side, but Plato has the inside line for the next corner. This is great racing from two of the titans of touring cars. Plato's still on the inside. Matt Neal trying to go all the way around the outside of Old Hall. This will give him the inside line for the next corner if he stays there. Look at Muller closing up with them as well. They're still together. Matt Neal takes it. Oh, and Muller's hit Plato. Muller has hit Plato. Plato is off. He's in the gravel. Oh, the old rivalry is rejoined once again. Ivan Muller and Jason Plato make contact on the exit of Cascades, and Muller now in second place.
Well, what drama here. Firstly, the fantastic action between Matt Neal and Jason Plato, side by side for 3 laps, and then the opportunist Muller trying to sneak his nose in. Muller will be, Plato will be livid. Here we go, there's a faint look of a gap there. Muller just touches Plato. The faintest of touches at that point is enough to upset Plato, and Plato unusually drives all the way through the gravel and risks an engine blowout with a stone in there to keep going. He's that upset about it.
And that's Gavin Smith with Colin Turkington for 6th place, and right behind them James Pickford. Plato's still out there. He's in 9th position, having rejoined after that trip through the gravel, but will the car be able to lap at all quickly? I'm not too sure. He's quite a long way behind these guys. There's a gap of some 10 seconds between Pickford in the Seat, just that you're watching here, the third of these 3, and Jason Plato a bit wide there from Smith. Chance, oh no, teammates hit each other, Turkington and Smith now.
Well, that's the second time Smith's been turned around. Last time at Brands Hatch he got turned around by James Pickford. That time though, I believe it was more his fault, because Turkington already had the overlap on the inside, and then Gavin tried to move over on him. He shouldn't have done that on his teammate, really. If you look here, Turkington's gone wide, he's cut inside, he has an overlap now, and watch, well, the contact happened very quickly, I have to say.
Here comes Plato into the pits, and it looks...
No, that's another set of slicks going on. They're not putting wets on. I thought maybe they were going to take a gamble and throw some wets on it in the hope that the heavens were going to open, but that... Oh!
Pickford.
Well, James Pickford's locked up at the hairpin and gone straight on, just kept it going, but he's had a big lock up. Now it is drizzling, so maybe the drizzle is a little bit heavier down there. Certainly the teams are all running around looking at what to do with the weather.
Just lost a bit of speed up the hill there. That's given Jason a chance to close up, but there's not really anywhere to overtake here.
No, but he can make Gavin defend, as he's done there, and then try and get a run at him through Druids and into Lodge. But Gavin's gonna block the inside, and I think the only way Jason's going to do it is either to go right around the outside, as we've seen earlier in the race, or try and force a mistake. He's going to try and cut back now. Has he timed it right? Yeah, that was a good timing. Good timing.
Here we go, side by side up the hill. This is where Gavin Smith was losing places earlier, and Jason Plato's done it again. Oh, that was good timing. Just judged it well, and he's got the position. He's in 10th now. Oh, and Gavin Smith getting into a bit of trouble. Neil just has to guide it through here, not hit the tyres. Don't bounce over the curves too much. Keep it clean on the acceleration up the hill as well. Eves has dropped back a touch in 3rd place, and Matt Neal should have this one under control. Up towards Druids they go then. And this is where, when it does get a bit wet, it can be terribly tricky under the trees, but that isn't a factor as yet. It's still dry through there. He can still get the power down, pull away a little bit from Ivan Muller, and it looks as though it's going to be another victory for Matt Neal and for Team Halfords, the team that has been on top in the British Touring Car Championship in 2005. It's win number 5 for Matt Neal in 2005. Ivan Muller settles for 2nd place. 3rd position goes to Dan Eves, and 4th place to a fighting Rob Collard. 5th position goes to Tom Chilton. He's chased home by Colin Turkington in 6th place in the Vauxhall, and Jason Plato will finish in 10th place. He's still got quite a long way around to go before he gets to the checkered flag, but if he stays where he is right now, Jason Plato will take pole position for race 3. Matt Neal takes the win in race number 2 from Ivan Muller. Dan Eves in 3rd, Rob Collard 4th ahead of Tom Chilton, Colin Turkington picking up 6th place from James Pickford in the Seat, Mark Proctor in 8th, ahead of Richard Williams, and that all-important 10th spot and pole position, Jason Plato.
Jason was inside of Matt, but then he was outside for next corner, and I just went behind Matt, and I just saw the image on TV. I was on the grass, I couldn't go more to the left. He came on me, so he played, he tried the game, but he lost it this time for once.
Do you think it was just a racing incident?
You know, I will not say more of this. I will let you judge yourself and watch the TV, and I think it's clear.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, Van. Thank you. Jason, what went on? It had to be Muller, didn't it?
I don't know if that's fair to Van to say it had to be him, but I mean it was. I don't know.
Well, I think
I just got fired off. It's as simple as that.
So Matt Neal had gone into the lead. You were defending your line, and
yeah, I mean, you know, I'd nipped in behind Matt there. Van's not alongside, and he's just kept his toe in. I mean, avoidable incident. You know, but you know, it's not for me to comment. We'll let the steward see. But as I see it, that was avoidable. It's quite quick there.
Yeah. And any damage to the car? Did you pick up some stones?
Yeah, it's damaged the front anti-roll bar, and of course we flat spotted the tyres. That's why I had to stop, because I had such a big vibration. But at least we got 10th. So
exactly, 10th equates to pole. So actually, not too bad.
Not too bad, and I'm quite hoping this rain stops, because every time we've qualified our car in the wet, we've been on pole, and the car, the Seat Toledo, is great in the wet, and I'm going to keep praying, do me a little rain dance, and see if it's here for the rest of the day.
And you're not going to have, you're not going to be very heavy either.
Yeah, that's another thing. Of course, we lose some of the success back ballast, so you know we need all the help we can get at the moment. But you never know if it stays wet, or even if it doesn't, we've got less weight than we've ever had today. So, you know, my car, as always, was great for the first few laps. And so you never know.
I'm sure it's going to be a very exciting race. Thank you, Jace. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Well, coming up, we will be on the grid ahead of round 12 of the championship. But first, here's your chance to win a wonderful prize in honour of Father's Day.
And the cars are on circuit right now in very, very different conditions to what we saw earlier on today. We have had the biggest of summer thunderstorms at Oulton Park, and a deluge has affected the track. Now, thankfully, it has actually stopped raining, because a little while ago, we couldn't have sent the cars out there at all. But the track is wet. They're on full wet tyres. They've tried to set up the cars for these conditions in a fairly short space of time. And these guys have really got to think about this and how they're going to drive this race. Remember, it is a reverse grid after that second race as well, and that's going to liven things up too. Jason Plato will be starting from pole position. He doesn't carry any ballast. He likes the wet conditions. This could be a huge opportunity for him, because around him, cars that are not so quick. Richard Williams in the Lexus. Then on the second row, we've got Mark Proctor in his privateer Astra. Those guys are not expected to do much. The next car up is James Pickford. He could really help Plato here, because he's in front of the next group of quick cars, including Colin Turkington and Tom Chilton. Chilton, I think, will like these conditions. His car is known for its performance in the wet. They've got a good data bank to work on to set this car up. Now, behind them is Rob Collard, similar with the MG. He could be quick in these conditions. Dan Eves, now he's got to start thinking about his points and defending his third place in the championship. Behind him, of course, the guys who are ahead of him in the championship, Ivan Muller and our series leader, Matt Neal. They're carrying lots of ballast. It will be tough for them in these conditions. Behind them are Gavin Smith and Luke Hines, who suffered that drive shaft problem in race 2, so he's got to start way back here, I'm afraid. And James Kay on the back of the grid. I don't think, unfortunately, that Ian Curley has made it out onto the circuit for race number 3. Conditions, though, are totally different to how they were for races 1 and 2. It's going to make life very interesting. Vicky.
Matt, you're 17 points in the championship lead. A good day's work so far?
Yeah, I want to go home now, though. I don't fancy this wet laugh.
Now, what do you take to this track in the wet? What's it like?
Well, you've got what you can't see from the TV. It's very hilly, and you've got a lot of areas where the water runs from the high ground to the low ground. So if the rain gets any heavier, we've got a lot of aquaplaning to contend with.
Now, you're on full wets, aren't you? Are you expecting the track to dry at all?
it depends whether the drizzle stays. We've got enough cars to maybe get a smidgen of a dry line, but I don't think we'll be able to get to slicks. You know, we're going to stay with the groove tyres, but we have gone with a full wet setup, so we'll see.
Cool. Thank you very much indeed, Matt. Now then, oh, the problems of walking down a grid. I just got caught up with some mechanical stuff. Now, Ivan Muller. Ivan, you are a master on the wet stuff. You are an ice champion. Are you looking forward to this race?
Yeah, but you know, it's a bit the lottery. I think for most of us, it's the first time with the new car. For us, for sure, it is the first time with the wet tire with this car. So, on terms of setup, it's a bit the lottery. So it can be good, but it can be bad.
And what are you hoping for?
I hope to have a good setup and then to try to catch a podium at least. But again, for the moment, I have a small doubt.
Do you think a podium is likely in this race? Because you are starting quite far back.
If we have the right setup, it is possible, yeah.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed, Ivan. Right. Now then, Oulton Park is a really, really long grid and the cars start quite staggered. So I might even have to break into a run. Who knows? Now then, I have spotted an actor here. And he plays Martin Platt in Coronation Street. He is Sean Wilson. Sean, hello.
Hello. How are you?
What brings you to sunny Oulton Park?
Sayat racing. I've really enjoyed watching the Sayat boys today, and I believe this next race is going to be rather interesting in the wet.
Now, what are your thoughts on motorsport in general? Are you a big fan?
I'm a big fan. I've been to the Superbikes a few times with the Monster Mod boys. First time I've been to the touring cars, and I've really enjoyed it. It's a real close-knit community, and I don't know, it's been really good. I'll be back.
Lovely, excellent. Well, who is your money on then?
My money's on Jason.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. Have a good day.
Cheers, thanks.
Well, that's it for the time being. Let's hope that the sun breaks through. Join us in a couple of minutes. We'll be back after the break for round 12 live. So here we are on a wet formation lap of round 12 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. 15 laps of the undulating Oulton Park. Commentary from Tim Harvey and Ben Edwards.
Thank you, Vicky. Well, here we are then into completely unknown conditions. From the point of view of this year, we have not had a wet race in the British Touring Car Championship, and now all the drivers and teams are making their best guesswork to get these cars set up. They've made the changes they hope will work. They've got them on the wet tyres, but it's the first time they've raced like that in 2005. Jason Plato starts from pole position. He's not carrying any ballast. He won the first race of the day, and the cars around him may not be expected to go quite as quickly. But watch out for the bright green car on our right as we look at it from the screen here. Richard Williams in the Lexus. That car has rear-wheel drive. It's an advantage in these conditions. He might have better traction off the grid. Let's wait and see what happens. Coming into the pits, though, one of the Sayat. Oh, dear. Can you believe it? Disappointment. I think it's Pickford who's come in into the pits. No, it's... we'll check that in a second. But we're all ready for the race to get underway. And the lights go out. It's a good start from Jason Plato. Terrible start from James Pickford. A good start from Richard Williams. It was Pickford, in fact, who's still out there. It's Hines who's come into the pits. And Luke Hines will try and start from the pit lane. It's Jason Plato who's made an absolutely perfect getaway. Williams on the curb there. And Plato is escaping. Tom Chilton has come up into second place. Brilliant drive from the youngster there. He's up into second. Rob Collard has come up into third. And Dan Eaves is running fourth.
Well, a fantastic start by Plato. He got that front-wheel drive car off the line just perfectly, and already you can see the two Halfords Integras really charging forwards. They made good starts as well. Oh, Plato's overshot on the first lap.
Plato's gone straight on at the hairpin. Would you believe it? Plato has outbraked himself, and that means Collard has just taken the lead. And Williams has spins out, might have had a tap from somebody, and Richard Williams therefore struggling for grip. It's Rob Collard in the MG leading Tom Chilton and Dan Eaves.
Yeah, an amazing start. Poor Richard Williams, he was really enjoying being up the front there. The two Halfords cars have come through. And what a chance this is for Collard and Chilton now.
Well, this is fantastic for Rob Collard, the privateer running with WSR in the MG. He's struggled a little bit in the last couple of races. He had a great second place at Donington earlier on this year. The Marshals very quickly pushing Richard Williams' car out of the way. Tom Chilton's in second. Dan Eaves, Matt Neal chasing after him. Then it's James Pickford and Jason Plato. Well, watch for the recovery drive now. This is how it happened.
The car's brake just coming over a little crest in the road, and Jason just couldn't stop the car. He was trying everything, his little cadence braking. Oh, there's contact between Turkington and Smith. Well,
Again.
that's Smith getting his own back maybe for the contact in the second race.
Second time of the day, those two teammates have hit each other. It's Colin Turkington and Gavin Smith. The safety car is heading down, looking as though it might be used, but it's not yet. They're just putting it in position. Let's wait and see what happens. There is Turkington's car. There may be a call for the safety car, but at the moment it's Rob Collard who leads from Tom Chilton. Muller's in the pits.
Oh, this is disaster. What's gone wrong for his championship? Has he got a puncture? The car looks a little bit crooked on the right-hand side of the front, but I'm sure we're going to get a safety car. Maybe Muller can get some work done on the car, rejoin it on the back of the pack and not lose a lap.
Well, this is really shaking things up here. Matt Neal is still running. Tom Chilton is running in second position. The safety car is out there, Tim, you're right. Safety car is on the circuit, so they will all have to gather up behind the safety car. Once he catches the leaders, or they slow down, whichever, he'll wait for them to come around. In fact, he's just joined onto the circuit. They're quite a long way away from that, so they'll be pushing hard for a little while before they catch up to the safety car. Plato is still in this race, remember. Jason Plato, despite that running off the road, he's still in the race, still in the top 10, in fact. And there is Ivan Muller's car being worked on in the pits.
Yeah, Muller's car, they're doing a lot of work on the back. I'm not sure what the problem is. Muller's got out of the car, though. I can tell you he's out. Well, we've lost two Vauxhalls already.
Yeah, Colin Turkington got out of his car as well. Oh, this is turning into an absolute disaster for them. Colin Turkington making his way over the barrier. Presumably they'll be able to get that car out of the way with the safety car out on circuit. They haven't slowed down yet, though, because they haven't caught the safety car. They'll see the safety car boards being shown, the stationary yellow flags to indicate, slow down, boys, the safety car's out there in front of you, and you've got to be careful. Well, what a start to this third race of the day. Jason Plato, the man who barely ever makes mistakes, he made a big mistake at that hairpin.
Oh, Proctor's gone off at the end of that lap. As I said, the safety car doesn't actually come out until the start of the start-finish line. So although the yellow flags would have been out, he's made a very similar mistake to Plato and just locked up the front. Probably a little bit of inexperience. He hasn't moved the brake balance adjuster inside the car to give it more brakes on the rear. Maybe that's the same thing Plato did. That would be an unforgivable mistake.
Well, it's all been happening, hasn't it? Let's now take a look back. First of all, this is what Plato did.
Plato's already realised he can't stop the car. He's just carrying too much speed. He's trying to brake and not lock the wheels up and slow the car down. Fortunately, he's got just enough lock to get around and still join on the back of the pack. But a real basic mistake on the first lap when he had a big lead.
Now, what happened behind was Muller and Williams made contact. That was Muller spinning when Williams went off. The two of them hit each other.
Yeah, we didn't see Muller going off on the right-hand side, but it was contact with the right rear of Muller's car. That was the bit they were looking at. Then his two other teammates, Turkington and Smith, get together. Well, I tell you, Vauxhall team manager is going to be having them all in for a meeting this week.
Dear, oh dear, what a disaster. And I think Vicky might have a chance to speak to the motorsport manager for Vauxhall, Mike Nicholson.
The broken rear suspension, there must have been some sort of contact in the first lap, I think, and he came on and said he had a problem with the rear right, and all I know is it's broken. I didn't see anything happen on the television. And of course we've just seen Gavin Smith hit Turkington, our other driver, so in the second race two of our drivers took each other off, in the third race two of our drivers took each other off, so there'll be a few words said about that. That's not acceptable.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Mike, thank you.
Oh, you get the impression they ain't going to be too pleased about that.
Well, he wasn't even being diplomatic. It was one of our drivers hit the other one. So, yeah, a disaster from a team's point of view, the championship for them. And I'm sure the people on the radio chat will be incessant between the different teams. And Team Dynamics will be telling their two drivers, Dan Eaves and Matt Neal, look, don't do anything stupid. Your biggest championship rival, Ivan Muller's out the race.
What this does all allow, though, is Jason Plato to close up in the Crocodile, because he's running in 8th place, and this may give Plato a chance to really score some points if he gets himself organised when the race does restart, because never count him out. He'll be kicking himself after that mistake on the opening lap, and a fired-up Jason Plato could be something to watch in the second part of this race.
He'll certainly be good value. Of course, the circuit is drying a little bit all the time. It's going to take a few minutes just to drag these cars out. I don't know whether that lorry is strong enough to drag 2 at a time, but it's got some work to do. But one of the things we talked about, the front-wheel drive cars, they're front-wheel drive, the engine's in the front. If you lock the brakes up, you lock the engine up, and then it's very hard to actually get the car stopped. So the drivers have to wind the brake balance more to the rear than they would do in the dry, and brake a little bit more gently.
Well, it's going to take a little while to get those cars out of the way, obviously, so everyone else just following behind the safety car. Just to remind you, each of these laps counts, but they will add some laps into the race distance to sort of give them back. Up to 3 laps they'll be given back, effectively, make the distance longer. Well, there you can see the marshals having a look, trying to get these cars out of the way as quickly as possible. And Jason Plato, who has to work his way up from 8th when this race does get going. Colin Turkington making his way back to the car, in fact. Race leader is Rob Collard, remember, with Tom Chilton running in 2nd place. And then it's the 2 Team Halfords cars. Dan Eaves is currently running 3rd, and Matt Neal, who won the 2nd race here, is running in 4th position. Those 2 guys, still important to them to pick up points in the championship, particularly with Ivan Muller out. This is a huge opportunity for both Matt Neal and Dan Eaves to extend their lead over Vauxhall driver Ivan Muller, and I'm sure they're not going to let go of that opportunity too easily. There is Eaves, there is Matt Neal right behind him. They've stayed out of trouble so far, and that's how you win championships. That's what they've got to concentrate on. Behind them is James Pickford in the Seat, and then behind him Gavin Smith, who is the only remaining Vauxhall, works Vauxhall that is, still in this race after the contact he made with Colin Turkington, and we saw Muller already out. Behind him is James Kay, who's had a bit of an up and down weekend so far. Then it's Plato, and then it's Luke Hines, who rushed into the pit lane right at the start of that last race. Don't know what his problem was, but at the back of that field now you can see Luke Hines is okay. Again, the safety cars helped him a little bit, and he's closed up.
Luke Hines actually came in the pits, much like in the very first race, to avoid a potential accident on the start. I think he thought with slower cars at the front, a wet track, there could be accidents, because he drove through the pits and started straight away at the end. I don't think it helped him, because the accidents came further around. But let's go back to Vicky for more news.
Steve, you must be reasonably delighted that Muller has gone out, because that boosts your boys' championship.
I wouldn't gloat over it, but obviously it's not caused us any displeasure.
Now, we've got Dan Eaves in 3rd and Matt in 4th. Good position?
Excellent, really. It's you know, you get what you can out of these races. It's a lottery, isn't it, once they start to rain like this, and what's happened, it's just fallen in a lap at the moment, and we don't really have to strain ourselves too much from now onwards, I think.
Now, what can you do before the boys go out to race in conditions like this?
Trust in the Lord, I think.
Lovely, thank you very much, Steve. Thanks a lot.
Well, Mark Proctor's car still to be removed and got out of the way there. Rob Collard is the man who leads them round. He's never won a British touring car race. It's funny, this circuit, you know, you get some slightly surprise results. Dan Eaves took his first ever touring car win here. So did Paul O'Neill a few years ago. I just wonder if we're not going to see another new winner in the shape of Rob Collard.
Well, the writing's there on the wall, isn't it? It could be, the history is there for new winners. Rob would love to win his first race here. He certainly didn't actually have much hope after the first few practices, where he was struggling with handling balance, but these conditions have played into his hands. He's got a good position now. We're still trying to get these cars out. We're definitely going to have a shortened race, and I hope to see Rob do very well.
Yeah, it would be a huge opportunity for Rob Collard. You know, he's worked so hard at his racing career over the last few years, coming through the ranks of racing in things like the Renault Clio in the production class that he raced a few years ago. Before that, he'd raced in the Vectras, in Formula Ford. He's raced mini stocks. He's a real keen racer at whatever level it might be, and he's the man out in front at the moment. He's in front of Tom Chilton, Dan Eaves and Matt Neal. We'll have to see if it stays that way. Welcome back to Oulton Park, and we've still got the safety car out there at the moment, but Ivan Muller is in the pit lane. He should be in the race. He's not. He's with Vicky.
Ivan, you're changed, ready to go. That was a quick race for you.
Yeah, that was a very quick race, less than one lap. Unfortunately, at the third corner in the hairpin, one of the legs you see hit me on the back, and the rear suspension was broken, so it wasn't possible to keep going.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Disappointing end to the day for Ivan and Muller, after it looked as though they might be able to really get some useful points from this Oulton Park meeting, and in the past it's been very kind to him. 6 wins here in the past 4 years, but I'm afraid he hasn't been able to add to that tally, and he's not even been able to go away with a really decent points haul despite that 2nd place in race 2. You can see the lights around on the safety car. That's the indicator to all of us, the drivers included, that it will be coming into the pits at the end of this lap and that racing will be resumed. 7 laps have been completed in total, most of those of course behind the safety car, but it has brought them all together. They're all close together, and Jason Plato, who blew the first lap by outbraking himself at the hairpin, starting from 8th position.
Yeah, Muller, of course, was the only driver to have defeated the Halford Hondas up until this point, with 2 victories, one at the first race, one at Brands. And then, of course, this weekend we've had Jason Plato win a race, and now we're looking at potentially another race winner.
Yeah, somebody else also, that's right, getting on to record a victory this year. And Team Halfords, though, still always there, aren't they? That's how you win championships, always being consistent. Here we go then, safety car heading into the pits. Race will restart. Rob Collard will decide when to go. He bunches them up a little bit and then gets on the power as they come across the line, and it's Collard who leads. Tom Chilton in 2nd place in the Honda. Then it's the 2 Team Halfords cars with Dan Eves just ahead of teammate Matt Neal, and in comes Gavin Smith. Oh, that's all the Vauxhalls by the look of it now. Gavin Smith into the pits. Could be the end of his race after the earlier damage, and Chilton having a little look down the inside into the Cascades corner. Collard has the measure of him, stays in front.
Collard just saw him at the last minute and gave him a little bit of extra room, but certainly Tom's looking chasing. Lost a bit of speed coming out of the Cascades there, but he's immediately back on the bumper. Oh, one of the
Pickford.
That was Pickford doing exactly the same at Plato.
He's just disappeared down the escape road there. James Pickford, the car didn't slow down at all, as you say, exactly like Jason Plato on the opening lap. And here we are, we've got a side-by-side battle for the lead virtually. No, Tom Chilton has to duck in behind Collard once again as they come through Knickerbrook. Now remember, Chilton has won races in British touring cars in the past. Rob Collard has not, but he's a feisty racer. He's the former Independence champion. He won that Independence championship here at Oulton Park. He loves the place. He will not give up on this very easily.
No, and I'll tell you what, I think Plato did exactly the same as Pickford as well for the 2nd time. Look at the 2 Halfords cars.
Matt Neal's taken 3rd. Yeah, Matt Neal has got past Dan Eves. He's taken 3rd place, and he now will go chasing after Tom Chilton. So a swap around there between the 2 teammates, and maybe Dan Eves just lost a little bit of traction out of the chicane. It allowed Matt Neal to come past. Behind these 2, it's still James Kay, and then it's Luke Hines, and then Plato, so you could well be right.
Yeah, so all of the Seats struggling with brake problems at the hairpin. That's very strange. We need to see what's going on there. We'll have to get to the bottom of it. That's the damage, I think, on the front of Gavin Smith's car, where he hit Turkington. All 3 Vauxhalls out well. Yep, a little guilty looking, I think, there, Gavin. Now, look at this. Collard is the only one without his wipers on. He's the only one with a clear view ahead.
Oh, that's a great position to be in. Rob Collard must be loving this, but he's got some way to go in this race as yet. He has got to keep control. Tom Chilton behind him. He's opened up the gap just a little bit over this last half a lap or so. Oh, he's lost it this time, though. Right round the outside, he's got in 2 deep. Here comes Chilton. Tom Chilton's through, is he? He's got the inside line now, and maybe he's going to have the lead as they go into the Knickerbrook chicane. What an opportunity for Chilton. It was Collard's mistake this time. Oh, he'll be kicking himself, but Chilton's taken it.
He's done it again. He's gone straight on again. Well, I've never seen so many problems with people locking up their brakes, and whether it's just because this is the first weekend we've had back racing in the wet and they've all forgotten to move their brake balances, or whether there's something on the track, very bizarre to see so many people locking up the fronts.
Rob Collard rejoins in front of Matt Neal. Now, he didn't gain any advantage there. I think he'll be allowed to have got away with that. Clerk of the course, Bob Kettleborough, basically told them that if they did straight line the chicane, as long as they gained no advantage, he'd let them off the hook. But now we've got quite a battle for 2nd. Chilton has a clear lead here in the Arena Motorsport Honda. Collard in second, Matt Neal in third, and Dan Eaves in fourth.
Yeah, and Matt Neal will have seen that Rob Collard's locked up twice on the previous lap. He knows that he's vulnerable on braking, and he'll attack him as soon as he can.
Across the line they go then. That's 10 laps completed, and Collard must be more wary on his brakes now. It was at the hairpin though that we saw his problem at the same place for the Seat of Jason Plato and later for James Pickford. What is happening further back? Well, Pickford currently running in 8th place, Plato is in 7th, Luke Hines is the top Seat at the moment. He's running in 6th position, but we're watching the battle up front, particularly for second place. There you are, there are the front-running Seats as they are. It's Hines in 6th, Jason Plato in 7th, and Collard under pressure here from Matt Neal. Tiny touch, Collard gets sideways, and this could allow Dan Eaves back past Matt Neal quite possibly.
No, I think Matt just got enough of a gap coming out of the corner. He got the power on early enough to get away, but he was certainly looking down the inside of Rob Collard. All the time, of course, this is letting Chilton get away. Don't forget that Chilton is in front. He had over 2 seconds on the end of the last lap, and it's going to be more at the end of this lap.
What an opportunity this is for Tom Chilton. He didn't race at the start of the season, remember. He joined into the championship at Thruxton, and remember how he led the race, the first race at Thruxton, and then picked up a puncture. Well, he's going to be a lot more cautious in the lead of this race. He's got a big advantage, but the last thing he wants is to make a mistake now and throw away a potential victory here. A big lead over Collard. Collard has to defend here because Matt Neal is looking racy. The championship leader would quite like to come up into second place and gain a few more points.
Yeah, Tom Chilton's had 2 5th places already this afternoon, and wouldn't it be great for him to get this victory? Plato's caught up with his teammate Luke Hines and does have the fastest lap of the way as well, so Plato's sorted out his braking problems and has got a car underneath him that he can move forward with.
Yeah, but he's not actually doing anything about getting past his teammate Hines that much at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see whether he's given an opportunity. Chilton is away at the moment. Who is going to take second place though? Collard so far holding on to that place. We're on lap number 12 out of 18, 11 completed. We're on lap number 12, still a little way to go, and we've seen how Matt Neal has worked well today in terms of gradually chipping away at Jason Plato in the earlier races. Now he's got to try and do the same to Rob Collard.
And Tom Chilton was 1.5 seconds quicker than this group on the last lap, so Rob Collard is really making it easy for Tom Chilton to get away. 1.5 seconds is an enormous amount.
Yeah, that Honda is working well. It's a car they know well in different conditions, and I think they've come up with a great setup for it. The Team Halfords guys still learning their car this year, and maybe it's a bit harder for them to come up with a setup straight away that works. Behind this group, look, you can see that Luke Hines has got to move on James Kay here, and he's going to go up into 5th place. Jason Plato might follow him, yes, because Kay eases out onto the grass, and in fact, Plato's got a chance to get alongside his teammate. Oh, it's so narrow up here. Barely space for 2 cars to go side by side. That's pretty brave, and Plato nips through on the inside.
Well, Jason read that situation perfectly through the Knickerbrook sequence. He just hung back. He saw what Luke was going to do, hung back and made sure he got a very good exit. The 2 in front held themselves up, and there in an instant, Jason's gained 2 places.
Now he's in 5th place and Collard's lost 2nd. Matt Neal has just taken 2nd coming through Lodge Corner, and we have a change for 2nd place. Matt Neal, the series leader, now takes over that position. Collard is down to 3rd. Dan Eaves is in 4th position. 5th place it is Jason Plato, who now is in front of both Luke Hines and James Kay.
But Tom Chilton, the fastest lap of the race last time round, so he's going very well. And Matt Neal now finds himself with 5 seconds to catch up.
Matt Neal trying a slightly wider line. I think that was probably on purpose, just going around the outside of the corner, looking for some additional grip there. And Collard now has the threat from Dan Eaves, the winner of all 3 races at Thruxton earlier this year, and a winner here at Oulton Park as well, where he took his first win last season. And now Collard's got to watch out for the second orange car, because it ain't far behind. Collard's wiper is going now.
Yep, he's got some spray on the screen for the first time. Matt Neal may be able to switch his off correspondingly, but Matt's certainly got a clear track in front. We'll see just how fast he can go. But Plato's catching them up, you know. Plato's not going to be on the back of them very soon. Poor old James Kay, a disastrous weekend for him. He's off again.
Yeah, he's out of it, sadly, but you are right. Jason Plato is not far behind this group. He's definitely getting a little bit closer, and he could become a major threat in the closing stages of this race. 12 and a half laps completed out of the 18. There's still time here for Plato to do something to make up for that strange moment when he went straight down the escape road at the start of this race. He hasn't been the only one to do it, particularly his own teammate James Pickford did it on the restart, but Plato getting that little bit closer now to the back of Dan Eves' Honda. Last time around, the gap between the two of them was 3.1 seconds. I'm sure it's less than that as they come across the line this time. Let's check what it is. Eves to Plato, only 1.2.
But, and this is a big but, the fastest lap there by Matt Neal, his personal best lap, some over half a second, 0.6 of a second quicker than Chilton. So he can catch him at half a second a lap.
He can, but Plato's just gone quicker than that. So Plato is definitely closing up on Dan Eves. Plato, the fastest man on circuit in the Seat, but he's got quite a big margin to make up. Across the line, there's confirmation of that fastest lap, a long way off the pace they were doing in the dry, of course, but it's what works in these conditions, and Plato's car, despite that braking problem earlier on, does seem to be working well.
Yeah, he'll kick himself if he does end up with the fastest lap and the fastest car on the track for making that mistake, but you have to feel for the drivers. It's terribly difficult to go out into the unknown. You don't know what the grip levels are as Rob Collard brakes on the white line, and that's Dan Eves gone straight on.
Yeah, Dan Eves does it this time. He's gone straight on at the chicane. He can't come back and gain a place. In effect, he's going to end up losing the place. Oh, he's going very slowly there. I'm surprised that he let the other car come past. He'd already let Plato through. He hadn't gained an advantage. I think he could have come out and stayed in front of the next car, Luke Hines, but he didn't. So it's all change again. Plato has gained another position, and he's now in 4th place after chasing after Rob Collard.
Yeah, this is all change, but just as we were thinking that the two Halfords cars had it all under control, we're going to move stealthily through, Dan Eves makes the same mistake that all his illustrious peers have made as well, so we can't really blame him for that. It's a terribly easy one to make.
It is an easy mistake, but you know, you've got to keep control and look at getting the points. That's what Dan needs to do, very much so. Race leader Tom Chilton has a big lead of some 3.8 seconds over Matt Neal. Looking to open up a really decent championship advantage here. If he carries on where he is now in 2nd place, his main rivals, Dan Eves is down a few places, Ivan Muller's out of this race. This is such a big opportunity for Matt Neal, but don't discount Jason Plato from the championship yet, and he correspondingly is gradually moving up the order. There is Matt Neal in 2nd place, bit of a gap back from him to Rob Collard, and then it's Jason Plato getting closer and closer.
Yep, and you saw confirmation that Matt Neal's now set the fastest lap of the race, so Steve Neal, his dad, we saw earlier, he'll be chewing a few fingernails, just hoping Matt keeps it all together, doesn't make a mistake. He'd be very happy to settle for a win and 2 second places, but Plato is not happy to settle for 4.
No, he wants to get past Collard, and the way that he's caught Collard over the last lap or so indicates he's got the faster car, and Collard struggling a little bit at this stage in the race. He was race leader earlier on, remember. He lost the lead to Tom Chilton. He won't want to lose a possible podium finish, but Jason there having a little think about it down the inside. Very unusual place to get past anybody. This is where Collard will defend. He moves to the middle of the road. He'll probably have to move to the inside of the road here. No, he holds the middle. He's left a bit of a gap. Plato will go for any gap. You can't leave a gap, not even one that wide for Jason Plato, and expect to get away with it. Plato's in 3rd.
That was a half-hearted defence there, Rob. I think he knew that Jason had the quicker car. He knows he's slightly vulnerable on the brakes. He doesn't want to lose a good result anyway from 4th place and risk being taken out, so he half-heartedly defended. He didn't really go all the way to the inside.
Well, that means that Jason Plato has now moved up from 8th place to 3rd. What about his chances of catching Matt Neal? He's not far behind the Team Halfords driver, although that has opened up a little bit as a result of the overtaking manoeuvre, so he's still got a bit of work to do. Yeah, the gap in fact over 3 seconds, so he's got not much time, I think, here. He might not be able to make it to close up to Matt Neal in the remaining laps of this race, but still a very significant performance this from Plato, winning earlier on today. He was right up front in race 2, and now he's worked his way up from dropping way back in the early stages of this race, and he's on for another podium. Good stuff from Seat. This is exactly what they needed at this stage in the season. when all of the talk has been about Team Halfords and to a certain extent about Vauxhall. Was there something trailing under there, or
there was? I'll tell you what, I think that's actually one of the drop links off the front roll bar. The teams disconnect the front roll bar if it's very wet, and the link that connects it, I think that's what it is. It could just be a little brake duct or something, but it looks like a rod to me. So I think it's just the drop link that is disconnected, and usually it's just tie wrapped to the suspension out the way, but it's just hanging down. It shouldn't cause him any effect on the actual performance of the car.
Well, he'll be hoping not, because he wants to hold on to this third place that he's earned now. Up the hill he comes, across the line. Our race leader has now completed 16 out of the 18 laps. He goes on to lap number 17. His gap 3.6 seconds over Matt Neal, and then there's another fairly similar gap back to Jason Plato in third. But there is our race leader. And what a story this is, Tim. You know, Tom has struggled a little bit since he came in. He had what looked like it was going to be a brilliant start at Thruxton until he got the puncture. Since then he's struggled a bit. This is exactly what he needs.
Yeah, he's taken a sensible approach to this meeting, and look how it's paid off. It's all very well being a young charger and lots of aggression, but sometimes it catches you out, and it's always, you know, Tom will have learnt a lot from this. You know, you've only got to watch Ivan Muller, Jason Plato, see how they use the traffic, see how they use cool heads to get good results, and he's doing that now. This will be a tremendous boost to his driving career, I think, here.
Yeah, well, he took 2 wins last year. He took the win at Silverstone, his first win in British touring cars, and also went on to win the second race of the day at Donington to finish off last season. They weren't going to come out and play in this year's championship, but changes over the winter meant that they came in late. He's also racing a sports car. In fact, he'll be testing that sports car later this week, I think, in preparation for his next sports car race at Monza. He's definitely trying to move up through the ranks, not just through touring cars, but through sports car racing as well. And what a result this could be for him to go to Monza in a few weeks' time on a real boost of confidence if he can hold on and take this victory. But he's got to avoid making any mistakes, and there's still just over a lap to go.
But he's got a nice cushion, good position for him to be in. He can just brake a little bit earlier, not take any risks, just knock it off a fraction, and he can bring the car home. A fantastic drive from him, a really mature day's driving from Tom Chilton. Very impressive.
Still just 20 years old from Reigate in Surrey. He started out his career when he was only 14 years old, becoming the youngest driver at that time to start a saloon car race in the UK in the T-cars, and he's been fast in everything that he's raced ever since. It's certainly, though, the story of today, his race here in the third race of the day. He hasn't put a wheel wrong in the most difficult of conditions. This is the sort of maturity that the team has been looking for. They felt that he had matured a lot over the winter. Then he made 1 or 2 little errors at Thruxton and Brands just by trying too hard. They sat him down, they talked to him, they said, come on, let's just keep it calm. This is the result, and these guys are just going to be over the moon. Michael, who runs this team, very experienced. He'll be delighted with the way that Tom has driven this race.
Well, Mike Earl's been watching the progress of the Audis at Le Mans. He ran an Audi at Le Mans. I said to him, do you wish you were in France? And he said, well, maybe I do, actually, but this will make up for it. He wouldn't have missed this for the world.
No, Tom Chilton only has the last couple of corners to go through here at Oulton Park, and he is going to become another new winner in this year. He's won in the past. He's going to take his 3rd win in his career, but it's the first win for him in 2005, and he couldn't have done it in any more assertive or dominant way. He's shown everybody the way home at Oulton Park in the wet conditions. Tom Chilton wins race 3 of the day at Oulton Park. Round number 12 of the championship goes to the youngster, and the team really happy about that. Second goes to Matt Neal. The series leader extends his championship points lead. Plato takes 3rd, a good fighting drive for him. Collard finishes in 4th. Then it's Luke Hines. Dan Eves, we're just watching him cross the line there. He's in 6th place, and then we're hoping to see James Pickford come through in 7th. There he is. The other Seats also getting into the points, so all 3 Seats, in fact, finishing in the top 10. So they did get something back from what was looking like a tricky race at one stage for them. Behind them, Gavin Smith, of course, didn't finish this race. Several of the cars didn't finish this race, particularly all 3 Vauxhalls. So for Matt Neal, it's been a successful weekend at Oulton Park. He's had one race victory, but look at what it's done in terms of the points table. He was only leading by 7 points before this race. Now he's leading by 24 points. Ivan Muller still in 3rd place. Jason Plato's moved up a little bit, still in 4th, but he's gained some very useful points. Rob Collardy is 5th, and Tom Chilton has now suddenly popped up to 7th place in the championship, courtesy of that victory in race number 3. Great effort from Tom, and he is going to be one very, very happy lad. He's going to be delighted about that, and I'm so pleased for him as well. Luke Hines and Gavin Smith rounded out the top 10 after a very dramatic day's racing.